Hi, welcome to Fork in the Road. My name is Matthew Tate. This is your channel for transformation. Today, I'm doing my second video in my video series, Adoption Healing. So today, I'm doing a book review, and this book review is on the book entitled Adoption Healing by Joe Sohl. This book is an amazing read. I thoroughly recommend it to anyone in the adoption triad, that being adoptees, adoptive parents, and natural parents. And so if you're in there, please read this book. It is so useful. Today I'm going to do an overview of the book and then give a few insights as to things I hadn't thought of before in my own personal adoption story. So Joe Sohl's written an amazing book which pretty much covers the gamut, the whole situation of the adoption story. And so it's an amazing read. So why is it an amazing read? Well, he goes through two particular parts at the start. And he has in the appendix here, in the contents, part one is the missing self. So understanding what's happened at the start of your adoption journey, and then moves it into the search for self, which is something all adoptees do go through. And on top of that, he works his way then into other areas like towards healthier options. He moves into getting help from practitioners or other people in the mental health field or whatever your modality is. And then he moves into that challenge to heal. So these are the basic chapters. And at the end, also has incredible appendices. What an amazing book. This book has given me the language to understand what's inside, those feelings. You see, we don't really have the language, and many adoptees will suppress their feelings to make sure that they keep that love coming from their adoptive parents. And in that suppression, we forget who we are. We lose our authentic self. So, what an amazing read. It really has helped me understand many elements about myself. If you're an adoptee or anywhere in the adoption triad, I would suggest that you read this book, and there'll be parts of it you might not resonate with because it doesn't feel like it's you, and I had moments like that. But there were other parts where I thought, oh my gosh, that is me. Joe, from the other side of the world, I'm in Australia, has somehow got through to my soul. You see, Joe has unpacked the adoption story so beautifully. And along the way, has helped me understand how adoptees can have different experiences in that adoption story. Even inside the same household, you can have two people grow up as adoptive children in the same household and have a very different experience. One theory I'd like to put forward is the 3 stages of trauma. The 3 wounds, if you like, of an adoptee. The first one is the very famous primal wound, which is that separation from your mother. This is something, everybody knows how important, let's for example say, breast milk is to a child, that connection with mother. Well, imagine if you haven't even got the mother, right? It's like you've had a death in a energetic kind of a way. So the first one is the primal wound, separation. The second wound, the second trauma, the second sort of tearing of the self is how you were told about adoption. It's really critical that this is a positive experience. Otherwise, this can really tear apart the personality. It's a fracture, actually, is the language I think Joe Sohl uses in his book. And the third wound is the age of cognition. 6 to 8 years of age. 6 to 8 is when children start to understand what's going on. And if they have a bad story to tell themselves and lock it into their brain, lock it into their psychology, their subconscious, and then store it in their body, they can carry that around for the rest of their life. And so this fracturing, this tearing of the personality, an identity then sits across the top of that. And that identity is split. And this is why adoptees can have variations on how they've coped with that adoption story. So it's an amazing book because it's helped me now understand that. So thank you so much, Joe Soll, bringing all of your experience. But on top of that, if you go further and do a bit of Googling, Joe actually has a bunch of videos attached to this book. Amazing resource. Thoroughly recommend that you go and check out those videos. And those videos, should I say, those videos are attached to the book effectively, taking you visually through what's going on with the adoption story, talking about all kinds of issues. So Joe Soll has made a massive contribution to the adoption space. So thank you, Joe. What an amazing book. It's given me language. It's given me a whole range of exercises. It's given me the knowledge to understand where I fit in to this adoption story. Understand my own feelings. I thoroughly recommend you read this book. It's such a resource, and there is an activity in each chapter for you to sit down, close your eyes, and do the visualizations, do the imagination work on your inner child. Anybody who's going to go into adoption healing, work with your inner child. Now, every human being has an inner child. If you've ever got upset and want to stamp your feet, that's your inner child rising up from perhaps something you didn't get when you were a child. Well, the adoptee does the same thing, and some of the issues are directly linked all the way back to that primal wound. Perhaps the second wound being how you were told your adoption story, or the third wound, the age of cognition, where you now understand and where you're allowed to process that. An amazing book. I thoroughly recommend you read Adoption Healing, A Path to Recovery by Joe Soll. Go check it out. I could do 20 videos on this book alone because there are so many activities in there that Joe has put together from his years, 20 odd years as I think psychotherapist from memory he said he was. Amazing book. Go check it out. Adoption Healing by Joe Soll. My name's Matthew Tate. This is Fork in the Road. I hope you get something out of this book. Anyone in the adoption triad.